everybody, it's Jazzy here, and we have another I Want video. This is a series where I take characters from from existing franchises, new franchises, or just new things in general that I want. And last time we did Marvel vs. Capcom 4, where we did the roster and stages for Marvel vs. Capcom 4. And I seriously didn't know what to do next. So I went on Twitter. So I went on YouTube polls and asked you guys what you wanted. And Nick All Stars won by a landslide. Sure, I'll do the other three at some point, but hey, it's still something, right? But hey, Nickelodeon won first. Shoutouts to the Nickelodeon All Star Brawl website and the Nickelodeon wiki for the images. And if you like it, and if you like the video, be sure to subscribe and like the video. But with that being said, let's get into the returning characters. And as you can see, and as perfectly as the series can get, I'm pulling a Smash Ultimate route and saying everyone is here. Yeah, every single character that's been in the game so far is back. And there's a pretty good reason. I mean, there's only 25 characters in this game so far, in the series so far. And April O'Neil, Cat Dog, Danny Phantom, Garfield, Helga, Hugh Neutron, Tony Wickman, Cora, Leonardo, Lincoln, Lucy Loud, Michelangelo, Nigel Thornberry, Oblina, Patrick Star, Barry Toastman, Ren and Stimpy, Reptar, Rocco, Sandy, Shredder, SpongeBob, Toph, and Zim. We could just as easily bring everyone back. And nothing needs to be changed that much. Well, to be honest, can we give Zim a new neutral special? In Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 1, he just summons out Gurr. And I like that. But Gurr's too important to Nickelodeon Psych X history to be just a move. How about summoning a mini moose to fire a mini laser, homing a laser at the opponent? Sure, but that would cool down so it wouldn't be overbroken. Other than that, all these characters are good to go. Every one of them are good to go. But with that said, let's get into the new characters. Starting with a Nick Jr. character, Blue from Blue's Clues. Listen, I used to love this guy. And he's important to the Nick Jr. history to boot. Yeah, he's in. Maybe we could even throw in a Jimmy Neutron reference and make Salt and Pepper do the Salt and Pepper dance. Sorry. Next, let's get some characters that are pretty important to Nickelodeon as a whole. First one being Donatello from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And yes, for the last two Turtles, we are going with the 2012 versions. Sure, they used the 1980 version for the rest of the characters. Don't care. Heck, if we're bringing Donnie into this game, yeah, Raph is coming back too. Both from the 2012 version, same old deal. So let's talk about their playstyle. We see Donnie using his bow staff, his use of technology, and if we introduce Final Smashes, I'd say Donnie's would be a giant turtleneck. Or maybe that turtle car that they have just comes in and rams over everybody. Next up, El Tigre from Manny Rivera from El Tigre. This one was tough. Because I admit, I never touched this franchise. But I never touched the series. But I know he's iconic to Nickelodeon's history. He's one of Nickelodeon's early 2010's biggest characters. What you? If Game Mail made this game, I'd say treat him sort of like Black Panther in my Marvel vs. Capcom 4 video. Gloss lashes, tail whaps, smash sauce, all the usual suspects. And for that big super of his, let's summon out that giant mech his grandpa has. Yes, I know he's got a giant mech. So what? Filbert from Rocko's Modern Life. Another great pick. Heck, if we're just talking about Filbert, Helfer's coming back too. Next, let's fill in some slots with. Now let's double down on. Speaking of, and next up, we're gonna add some characters from past franchises. Starting with Gur from Invader Zim. Yeah, you know how I said that Gur was important to the history of Nickelodeon? Yeah, he really is. He's one of those iconic characters that when you think of him, you think of Nickelodeon. Invader Zim was groundbreaking at the time. It was stunning. Had CGI movement, but it was also kind of dark. But Gur was tried and true for all of it. Next up, Ickis from Real Monsters. I will now give half the audience a chance to ask, who? And what? Okay, remember Albina from the first game? It's a series she's from. I will now give the rest of the audience a chance to ask, oh. What? And I know that he's a big face for Nickelodeon protagonists, but you're getting a Wolverine ripoff, and that's it. We don't need 2 Wolverine ripoffs in the same game. Let's just move on. Next up, an obvious pick, Jimmy Neutron. Jimmy is one of those iconic Nickelodeon characters. Their first CGI outing, and one of their biggest movies. So why the heck did they not include him in the first game? I mean, don't get me wrong. Hugh was there for meme purposes, but Jimmy is a better pick. Next, let's throw in some Louds. Luann and Luna Loud. Both of these are some of my favorite characters in Nickelodeon's history. One a jokester, one a rock star. Yeah, we'll see them throwing pies. We'll see one of them throwing pies, a dummy toss, a water squirt, and the other using music notes to help liven up the battlefield. Yeah, all the usual suspects. Next up, Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. Again, why was he not in this game? Mr. Krabs was one of the most asked for characters for me. He's one of those iconic Nickelodeon characters, and from an iconic franchise to boot. Yeah, put him in. Next up, kind of a weird pick, Olmec from The Legends of the Hidden Temple. Okay, let me explain. He's sort of kind of like our Ridley. He's sort of like our Ridley here. So he might be too big. But screw it. I'm running out of characters here. Let's just do it. And speaking of running out of characters, Otis from back at the barnyard. He's one of those iconic CGI Nickelodeon characters. Was a great asked for character. Let's just move on. Plankton from SpongeBob. Spoiler: there's one more SpongeBob character on the list, so just get ready. As for Plankton, let's have him pilot around in one of those giant mechs of his, and let's see what he can do with that thing. Next up, Rango from Rango. He's one of the most iconic Nickelodeon movie characters in history, and one of an award-winning character, I think. Doesn't matter. I'm running out of characters. Let's just move on. We already covered Raphael. So next up is Reggie Rocket from Rocket Power. Kind of an odd grab, but that's why I'm picking her. Rocket Power was a totally 80s show. Was a totally 2000 show. And Reggie was kind of one of the big faces of that show. Don't get me wrong. I still have Otto in here as an assist, but Reggie just feels like a natural pick for me. Especially since her rival would be Sheena Estevez from Jimmy Neutron. Yes, I'm including 2 Jimmy Neutron characters, and they're both the main protagonists. So Sheen would act differently from anyone else in the game. He'd be a summon fighter who would summon other characters from the series. Maybe Ultra Lord to do for a final smash, Carl Weezer to plays an inhaler on people. I'd get really crazy and get Professor Calamitous as an assist. Next up, my original character, Slimette. Slimette as an original character. Why would I put her in this game? Because Slimette is the embodiment of Nickelodeon slime. She wanted to be slimed. But she was a reporter at that. And she was a reporter at that. Then she found herself dumped into toxic waste and slime, and now she's looking like this. And essentially, she'd be the game's OC. Every character has their own. Every series has their own OC, whether it be the Mii Fighters, Brain Dog, or in this case, Slimette. Next up, Snap from Chalk Zone. Chalk Zone may not be the most iconic Nickelodeon series out there. Heck, it's not even close. But I'm picking Snap because he would play completely differently from anyone else in the game. Let's give him a Danny Phantom style teleport, a chalk throw. Heck, for his big final smash, he and the protagonist of the series, Rudy, would draw a plane, and then call an airstrike down on the other players. And the final SpongeBob character is Squidward from SpongeBob. This one was tough. I was tempted whether to use Squidina from the Patrick Star Show or Squidward, but in the end, I had to go with Squidward. Squidina's not had much time in the spotlight, but she's a fan favorite character, and I would totally include her as a third season as a free DLC character. But Squidward, yeah, he's the most iconic and one of the most requested characters in SpongeBob's history. Yeah, bring him back. Next up, Timmy Turner from the Fairly Odd Parents. Look, I saw online that it was Disney's fault, but come on! You gotta give him a chance. Next up, Queen Vexus from My Life as a Teenage Robot. Remember that franchise? Remember Jenny? Yeah, that's the series she's from for you all non-2000s fans. We'll see him summon bees or robot bees at that. And she would be the game's mid-boss. And Plankton would be the final boss. Next up, Vlad Plasmus from Danny Phantom. I knew we needed another Danny Phantom character in here. He's one of those iconic Nickelodeon characters. So in the end, I'm bringing him in his big antagonist, Vlad. He'll sort of be like an echo fighter of Danny. But when he pops in, let's have him transform like in the show. And the final character is Zuko from Avatar. No, not that one. No, not the other one. There we go. The Nickelodeon one. Sorry, James Cameron. So Zuko would be this game's firebender. He'd be a glass cannon version of Aang and Korra. And since fire is the only Avatar element not to be represented, yeah, we need to fix that. Now, those are your returning All-Stars and your new All-Stars. But there's one more thing we need to discuss. One simple gimmick that we do on every episode. Last time it was the stages, but this time, I'm doing a story. Now, I could just write off my Nickelodeon All Star Brawl 2 fanfic. I mean, it would only take a few hours. No, that's a terrible idea. Yeah, I'll just shorten it down. Let's never speak of that whole idea again. Now, we start out with Plankton in his lair, in the chum bucket. He was just foiled by Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob, and he's groveling at the defeat of him, at his latest defeat. Time after time, episode after episode, year after year, he's gone empty-handed without the Krabby Patty formula. No matter where he goes in the world, the Sponge Crew always stops him. But then he gets an idea. What if we went to another world? Using his incredible scientific brain and a little bit of black magic, he discovers that the world he lives in is actually one of infinite worlds combined by separate strings. So he thinks, why not cut those strings? So he brings the villains of each world together. Then Shredder asks, why don't we just merge these heroes together and let them fight each other? Plankton loves that idea. So he calls on Vlad Plasmus to use his ghost powers to merge these realities. Or Nick verses, if you will. So anyways, I'd like the story to be episodic, with the first episode being a part of DLC, being a part of the base game, and the other two being a part of the first and second seasons of DLC. The heroes fight for a while, and realize they're on the same side. But they still argue over who's in charge, and who they think is behind all this. Eventually, eventually Jimmy Neutron sneaks out of the lair, and tells them what the heck is going on. Jimmy's been spying on them for a while. It turns out that all of them are correct, and they've used their power, and they've used Vlad's power to bring in the other worlds, and that they're recruiting new enemies to face. And this would lead into the first season of DLC, which I'd like to call Bring On the Bad Guys. I'm thinking 3 characters per season. And the first batch of characters is Angelica Pickles from Rugrats, Baxter Stockman from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Beautiful Gorgeous from Jimmy Neutron. The second episode goes about as you expect. The heroes bust into the lair, trying to take down Plankton, fail miserably, all ending up to, as I like to call it, the all is lost moment. Then suddenly, 3 mystery characters break down the door, knock out Angelica, walk into the lair, and then reveal themselves to be the final 3 DLC characters, which are in a season I like to call Heroes Unite, as a reference to the Nicktoons Unite series. And I'm going with Bessie from Mighty Bee, Ronnie Ann from The Loud House, and Tag from Tag and the Power of Juju. And it all comes down to this. Heroes fighting villains. Heroes fighting villains. Protagonist versus antagonist. Anti-hero against anti-hero. All leading up to a battle of intellects between Jimmy Neutron and Plankton. And if you win, that battle, you get the ending. You get the normal ending. That everyone goes home, everyone goes happy, and everyone goes. And SpongeBob says, "I'm sure I'm gonna miss this place, but I'm ready to go." And then he opts in, and the game ends. But if you make certain decisions during the story, then it won't be just the 3 DLC characters joining in battle, but also 2 secret bosses but then 2 secret bosses jump out of the screen, what was I saying? Jump out the window, take out the guy you were supposed to fight, steal Vlad Plasma's power and Plankton's mech, and now they're the ones you have to fight. Who are they, you might ask? None other than Dennis from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, and Karen, Plankton's wife. Yeah, that's a terrible idea. How about Dennis from the SpongeBob movie and Professor Calamitous from Jimmy Neutron? Yeah, there we go. And you could also have a secret ending where if you lose the battle, then the world is destroyed by Plankton's then Vlad Plasmus betrays Plankton and destroys all of reality. And I know people should say we should do stages, but we're not going to do that. We've already got 1 gimmick, we don't need 2. In this this game we have an arcade mode instead of a story. An arcade mode. An arcade mode, a free-for-all mode, and even a team battle mode. But that's all for me, guys. See you in the next one. Take care.